Yo, what's good, everybody? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Episode 2 of Shootin' the Schmidt. Crazy, wild week. Gonna get in some crazy stuff, some crazy recent stuff. They just went down today. Things I thought I would, that I would just never see in this world. I'm recording this January 6th. Depending on what day you guys are watching, this is going to be going out January 7th on Thursday. So depending on what day you guys are watching this, you know what went down. If you're watching this today, come out. You know what happened yesterday. Unbelievably wild year. Or, unbelievably wild day. Here in the United States. And you know, with this podcast, I'm going to talk about a variety of different things, okay? I'm going to touch on real life stuff. Yeah, I'm going to touch on gaming, because that's something I do a lot. Something I'm really big into. Touch on sports. We'll get into some sports and some things like that today. I mean, like I said, I'm going to touch on a variety of different stuff. This isn't a main-centric podcast. I mean, this is just stuff that I'm interested in and stuff that I want to talk about. But even with that, I mean, I don't want to get into political stuff. I honestly really despise a lot of the political stuff, to be honest with you. I really try to stay away from it. Some of that stuff just I'm not into a lot of that stuff, and I definitely don't like really talking about it, putting it out there on especially on any socials or anything. It's just a lot of times I feel like it starts more good than bad. But I mean, it's so hard to avoid this topic. And I'm not going to get super in-depth in anything with it. This isn't going to be an hour-long conversation about what went down yesterday and the background. I mean, we're all well aware of a lot of the stuff that's gone down, especially last year in 2020. You know, COVID was not the only crazy part of last year. We're all well aware of that. But doesn't look like here in 2021, at least how we're starting out here, that things are getting any better. There's a lot of memes coming down on the end of 2020 that, 2021 is probably just going to be a continuation. And so far, it's starting out that way. Yesterday, protesters rioting at the Capitol building in Washington, D.C. Yeah, I don't even know where to go with that. I mean, words I never thought I'd say. I mean, these are things that are going on in the country that are straight out of history books. So many big historic events you go back and see through history books. I mean, most recently, things that a lot of kids are getting taught about now that some of them didn't even live through now. I mean, so much time has passed. I mean, things like 9/11. So many events that have gone down in past history, and I mean, we're living in some of the craziest ones. It's hard to believe. When you see that stuff as a kid, you think all that stuff's in the past, and it's just crazy alternate universe that you're never going to experience. And yeah, here we are in 2021. I mean, not much else to say about what went down yesterday, other than it's disgusting. It's unbelievably disturbing to see. It's wrong on so many levels. And it's just really disappointing to see how some of these people act, and the things that people do. It's unbelievable. And of course, just when we thought we were out of all the political nonsense with the end of the election and whatever, I mean, it's all sparking right back up again. And again, I'm not going to get into the politics of a lot of things. There's no point in starting that debate, and it's not a winnable debate, especially on the internet. But things are just absolutely wild. And it's crazy to me just how divided things have been, especially last year, and things still are going into this year. Hoping that at some point soon things are a lot less of that way going forward. Don't know what the right answer is. Definitely not the person for that answer. I don't know who is. just hoping for a better future for things going forward, I think is just the best way to put it. I'm just hoping we get there. I don't know if we will. Things are looking really rough right now, and this is just the time period that we're in right now that I'm honestly just sick of seeing. It's really disappointing and disturbing to see a lot of the things that have gone down over the last year. Like I said, it's something for the history books. It's going to be really crazy in the future, to just, if I have kids one day, just knowing that they're going to be learning about in their history books what we are living through right now. It's a wild thing to think about. We're going to have some stories to tell and some things that we're not really going to want to relive. But like I said, hopefully going forward, things can get better. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this topic. I mean, there's really not much else to say. If the things that went down yesterday don't disturb you at all, I really don't know what to tell you. It's horrible. And I'm sick of seeing stuff like this happen on a consistent basis. So I'm hoping at some point, by the grace of God or something, that things just get better soon. And going forward with the rest of this episode, I don't even know how the hell I'm going to transition out of this, to be completely honest with you. But getting into some different things, some different topics here as we go forward. I'm not even sure how long this podcast is going to be. I tried to list out some different things that I wanted to talk about for this recording, and so much of what transpired today just took over a lot of my thoughts and stuff. And so I've been just trying to throw together some things to be able to talk about and to discuss, and some other things that were on my mind. But like I said, a crazy, wild day in American history. And it's something that I don't want to spend a lot of time on just because there's so many different avenues you can go, and I don't think any of them are going to bring on anything really positive. But yeah, just an absolutely wild day. So may end up being a little bit of a shorter episode. I'm not really sure, but some bright news here with the podcast. We are now live, not just on YouTube, but also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, which is great news. I had to wait till the first episode went live before I was able to submit it to those other platforms. Spotify was really quick, surprisingly. I submitted it, and probably within a half hour, I got notifications that it was all set, it was all good to go. Apple didn't happen till, I believe, earlier today or the day before. So that took about a week, which was kind of surprising. But it's up on Apple Podcasts now, so for those of you seeing this on YouTube, if either of those platforms work out better for you going forward here in the future, they're available now. If you're already listening on those podcasts or on those other platforms, if you listen to this podcast on other platforms, drop a review. Drop it a 5-star review. I'm not sure what Spotify has for ratings, but drop us a review, man. Help out the podcast going forward. And it's good to finally see those on other platforms. You guys have other platforms you need this podcast on? Be sure to let me know. I just know Apple and Spotify are the two main ones. Those are the ones I wanted to get the podcast on right away, aside from the visual part here on YouTube. If you guys want this podcast on other platforms, if you use a platform that more often for your traditional podcast listening, let me know down in the comments or in the reviews, whatever. Just let me know. Tweet it at me, whatever it may be. I'll work on getting that up on those other platforms. But we are up in Apple and Spotify, which is really good news. Definitely something I want to get going. And making moves out here in the podcast world. Good things to see. One big thing I wanted to get into here for the sports is the NFL playoffs. Those are coming right around the corner. I believe this weekend, right? It's got to be this weekend. I believe they're starting up, which is great. I pulled up the bracket over here to kind of look at things because we have an expanded playoffs for the first time here in the NFL. We've got 7 teams here on each side in the AFC and the NFC, which is leaving us, I believe, 4 wildcard games. More than that, right? 6 wildcard games. Chiefs and Packers with the byes with the number 1 seed in each side. And it's kind of wild. I'm kind of digging these expanded playoffs, more tournament-style setups. The NBA kind of did something similar to where they expanded the playoffs. They had more of a play-in toward the end of the season. And I don't know. I kind of like it. It makes it a little more interesting to watch. I mean, when things like the NFL come down to just one game, It makes things kind of wild because you got some 7 seeds that can knock out some of the top teams. I mean, it's very possible, I guess, that the 7 seed Bears could take out the number 2 seed Saints. Probably won't happen, but with one game in the NFL, it's possible. It's something very similar to March Madness, to where some of those higher seed teams, some of those teams that are, it's pretty set in stone that they are the better team, could just have a bad day. But I wanted to do some of my picks. I kind of got asked about this a few days ago as well, kind of what I thought was going to happen here with the NFL playoffs. And I mean, honestly, to me, like I said, it comes down to one game. Any team can have a bad day. Any team could have a phenomenal day that you may not think could. But to me, I hate to be the chalk guy, but I mean, the Packers and the Chiefs are hands down. I don't even know that it's close. I mean, the only other team I could see an argument for are the Bills, to just being one of those top tier teams in the NFL. I feel like it's like Chiefs, Packers, and then like you got a 1A with the Bills, and then there's just everybody else. I mean, looking at both sides of this bracket, I mean, there's teams that could get it done. There's very, very solid teams. I mean, the Saints definitely are nothing to just scoff at. I mean, the Saints are a phenomenal team, getting a lot of their big guns back. I believe Michael Thomas is supposed to be returning. Of course, Drew Brees is back now off of injury. They could easily make a run. I would definitely love to see Drew Brees get another one before he goes out. Teams like the Seahawks, I mean, if they get hot, I mean, they got some weapons, man. Russell Wilson was an MVP candidate earlier this year. They got a star-studded wide receiver core. Steelers, if they could catch back up to what they were doing, before these past few weeks, before they started losing games to the Bengals, they could make a run. But it does seem like they're definitely on the downswing. And then you got one of the surprises from last year, the Titans, at the 4 seed in the AFC, who's kind of a sleeper pick for me. I'm gonna be honest. I definitely think they could easily take the Ravens, and then after that, it's the winner of the Browns and the Steelers. I mean, none of those teams, looking from the Titans' perspective, do I think that they couldn't beat. So I feel like they could easily make it to the AFC Championship, face either, I mean, most likely the Bills or the Colts. Is a 4 seed a sleeper? I gotta think about that. Is a 4 seed really a sleeper? I don't know. Like I said, I mean, I feel like really anybody other than Chiefs, Packers, and Bills is kind of a sleeper pick. I mean, those, I hate to chalk it, right? But I mean, looking at some of the teams in this bracket, I just don't think they're on the same level. I will say one unpopular pick that I have, looking at this bracket down in the bottom right, Washington and Tampa Bay. I'm going to tell you right now, and this could turn out to be totally wrong, would not surprise me either way, but it would not totally shock me if the Washington football team was able to take down the Tampa Bay Bucks. I know Tampa Bay's loaded, man. Tom Brady's had a great season at age 43. They got Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown, Rob Gronkowski, Leonard Fournette, Ronald Jones. I understand. They got a star-studded team. Their defense is very solid as well. But Washington has just been sneaky good all year. They've got a great defense. So if their offense can hang, like I said, it comes down to one game. Anything can happen. I mean, with Alex Smith, is Alex Smith back for this game? I really haven't kept up too much with it with some of these injuries, but I mean, Alex Smith, pretty much comeback player of the year, seeing as he was on the cusp of near death, or at the very least not being able to play football again not too long ago. Back being the starting quarterback for the team. Look, man, that one would not surprise me. And that's a 4-5 matchup, Washington with the 4. But I mean, I feel like Tampa Bay for most people is a heavy favorite. Washington being 7-9, sneaking in the playoffs. But dude, Washington's sneaky good. These have been one of the surprise teams this year. I mean, even though they're 7-9 losing record, making it in the playoffs, but nonetheless, I mean, pretty much everything else for the NFC. I don't see a way in hell that the Bears beat the Saints. No shot out of that. I guess Seahawks and Rams could be a solid matchup. I got the Hawks, though. I got the Hawks. Definitely got the Hawks there. And then after that, dude, that would be Seattle playing Washington. It's got to be Seattle. Moving on from there. And then it'd be Packers, Saints. I mean, who's going to stop Green Bay? I got Green Bay in the Super Bowl definitely from the NFC side. I definitely don't think there is any team on that side that can compete with Green Bay. They're just on a roll. That Aaron Rodgers to Devontae Adams matchup is just impossible to stop. Having Devontae Adams on my fantasy team for the second half of this year was very nice. Didn't put me in a playoff position for fantasy, unfortunately, but yeah, man, that connection's been solid all year. Their whole team has been just incredible all year. Aaron Rodgers had a phenomenal season, probably going to win MVP. Dude just does not stop going. But going over the AFC side, I got Titans over the Ravens. They're my sleeper pick. Browns Steelers. This is another one where I feel like at first glance you go Steelers. But if the Browns have a good day, the Browns have been one of those teams this year that have been, if they're on their hot streak, man, good luck beating them. But they hit some of the lowest of lows, really, of any team. It's incredible. I'm going to take the Browns. I think the Browns are riding high. First playoff appearance since 2002. I'm going to take the Browns. I'm going to take the Browns in this one. So that gives us Browns-Titans. And I'm going to chalk it up to the Titans, man. Ryan Tannehill has had a great resurgence in Tennessee. Derrick Henry's an absolute monster. Got some great receivers in A.J. Brown, Corey Davis. Always that still always that solid defense Tennessee's had for a while. I'm putting Tennessee in now one half of the AFC Championship. Bills are beating the Colts. That's the easiest one for me. But then we get Chiefs-Bills in an AFC semifinal matchup. And that is going to be a phenomenal game to watch for sure. It would not shock me at all if the Bills take this game between against the Chiefs. Would not shock me one bit. But you can't pick against the Chiefs, man. They've just been unbelievable all year long. Really only one loss. I believe they're 14-2. Wasn't their loss just this last week, week 17? They sat literally everybody. So, I mean, assuming they started everybody, probably be 15-1. But a 14-2 record, their one loss, kind of a fluky one to a team that's had their number a little bit, being the Raiders. Bills have been phenomenal all year. They've been really fun to watch. Stephon Diggs has had his career year, finally getting a good quarterback in Josh Allen. Josh Allen also having a phenomenal year this year. They got a great team. I just don't think it's enough to take the Chiefs. Gives us Chiefs-Titans in the AFC Championship game, which, if I'm correct, is a rematch of last year. I want to say it was a rematch of last year. I'm almost positive on that. And I don't think anybody's stopping the Chiefs. I really don't. At least not the Titans. At least not the Titans. I hate to chalk it. I really do. I hate to chalk it that simple, but I mean, these are professional athletes. These are professional sports. It's a lot harder to do that, even though it's one game. I did. I gave the whole monologue of it's one game, anything can happen, but I'm putting Chiefs-Packers in the Super Bowl. Got to chalk it, I guess. And then that is going to be a phenomenal Super Bowl, assuming that does happen. And I feel like the easy one to pick is the Chiefs. But I might have to give it to the Packers. I really might. They've just had something going all year long. I mean, the Chiefs have quietly had an unbelievable season. Like I said, practically being 15-1, assuming they started everybody in week 17. I don't know, man. The Packers are just on another level right now. I mean, it's going to be a phenomenal game. I definitely don't see it being a blowout on either side. But I'll give it to the Cheeseheads. I'm going to give it to the Packers. I'm going to give it to the Packers in the Super Bowl. I guess those will be my picks for the NFL playoffs. Pretty chalk from the one seeds, but like I said, I think some of those early matchups could have some surprise outcomes, and who knows? We could see we could see one of the whoever wins out of the 2-7 matchups. We could see them take down one of those one seeds. Could definitely happen. It's one game playoff in the NFL. Anything can happen. those are gonna be my NFL playoff picks here for 2021. Let me know your guys' picks down below in the comments, in the reviews, whatever. Hit me up on Twitter. Let me know your picks for the NFL playoffs. I think it's definitely going to be a very interesting one. I'm going to be doing some NFL playoff fantasy, something I've typically done the last number of years. My dad knows a guy that does. He sets up a league every year for the NFL playoffs. You essentially draft out of the fantasy playoff teams that are available, which there's more than there has been in previous years with the expanded playoffs. That's going to be kind of interesting. The goal is always to get somebody who's going to be good that you think is going to play 3 games, so you typically don't take somebody from one of the bye teams. But I'm starting to think a little bit about who I'm going to take. I'm not really sure. Somebody from the Bills would probably be a good pick, even though they might not take down the Chiefs. Might have to take some Titans if they're going to be my sleeper pick. I don't know. Definitely looking forward to the NFL playoffs. I think it's going to be a real good one here. And then on the other side of football, we got the national championship coming up. Not Clemson. Clemson just played Ohio State. Ohio State and Alabama for the national championship. Alabama, once again, has been rolling all year. Ohio State, many thought didn't really deserve a playoff spot due to their shortened season of just 6 games. And they went out and they just mollywopped Clemson, man. Clemson had all that talk. And I feel like the popular pick was Clemson in that game. And Justin Fields came out with a chip on his shoulder. And they took down the Clemson Tigers. And now they're playing Alabama for the national championship. And if Ohio State can ride the wave, they just might be able to take down Alabama. But I feel like that's the only way they're going to be able to do it. Alabama's just so good. Once again, every single year. I feel like Alabama's going to take it, and I don't really want to root for Ohio State, being a Michigan fan. It's like 2 of your least favorite teams are playing against each other for the national championship, because Alabama's just everybody who's not a Bama fan pretty much hates Bama. Like, there's no, indifference about Alabama, right? You pretty much hate them, or they're your favorite team. And then, of course, being a Michigan fan, you hate Ohio State. I don't know. You kind of like the underdog story, but the underdog's Ohio State. Go Bama. Those are my picks for all the football playoff stuff coming up here in this weekend, I believe. I know the national championship's coming up here on Monday for college. I'm not 100% sure on the NFL. Let me look before I sound like a freaking idiot. Who do we got here? I believe it's coming up this weekend. We don't got any listings for these games? What's going on here? What is this? You'd think people would want to know. Yeah, Saturday, January 9th is the first game, starting off with Indianapolis and Buffalo. Lit. It's going to be awesome. Football is going to be a lot of fun to watch here over the coming weeks. Playoff time is always a good time. Get into some other stuff, though. Something really cool. A little project I've been doing kind of since Christmas. So Christmas Eve, our grandparents came over and visited right on the night before Christmas. And all through the house. But what we decided to do with everybody over was pull out the old video camera. Kind of go through some old family films, which I feel like is a decently popular tradition, or at least for some families, if you were fortunate enough to have those moments recorded back in the day. But I feel like this is a pretty popular one. It's kind of between that, playing some games, or watching some Christmas movie or whatever else. But I like to take a look at the old memory, or the old times, the old memories from back in the day, and so that's what we did. Everybody had a riot, just kind of going back and seeing how things were. But obviously, a lot of those times back in the day were recorded on a very old camera. It's a Sony Handycam, is what they were recorded on, with mini DVs, which are essentially little VCR tapes. Obviously, here in 2020, many years after this thing has come out, You just never really know when these things are just going to stop working, or when one day you play one of these things in that device and it just destroys it all and it's no longer able to be used anymore, which destroys all of the recorded memories. And so I've kind of taken on the project of porting these over and getting them on a digital platform to be able to use, which has kind of been interesting because a lot of these things are a very expensive process to have done. Typically, I think what you would do with these would be to send those little mini VCR things in to some company who's got all the equipment to be able to transfer it to a DVD or Blu-ray, some flash drive or hard drive or whatever. And those things are expensive. They really charge you a lot, play off your nostalgia a lot for getting those things future-proofed. But it's kind of I kind of took it on. My parents asked me, it was like, do you think you could have any chance of getting these over before we look into sending them in? And I was pretty sure. I had a pretty decent idea that I would be able to do it. Long story short, I have been able to do it. Basically, so when you play the videos back, they play through the old yellow, white, and red cords, which are the AV cords. A lot of TVs, monitors, whatever, just really, they don't have those anymore. So a lot of things, of course, now use HDMI. And so I thought about how I could be able to transfer these. I thought, well, I had two options. One was obviously just plug the camera directly into the computer, maybe be able to transfer some of those files over. Yeah, long story short, could not find a way for that to happen. Just there's no cords compatible with that video camera now that just work anymore. However, my second idea is the one that actually ended up working. So I have an Elgato, as many of you probably know, which is a device to be able to capture stuff through HDMI, mainly used for game consoles, Xbox, PlayStation. Also used on PCs to be able to record video games and to be able to record them and stream them and all those things. And so I had the idea is if I could get an AV cord to HDMI converter, I could plug the video camera right into my Elgato and record everything off of it, have them saved digitally, and then just transfer them to some flash drive or hard drive. And that's worked. And it's been really cool. So that'll save them a lot of money instead of getting that done, I guess, more professionally. They're turning out really well. I mean, they're coming through, in the best quality that they can. I mean, they're really old, recorded in probably 480p, if not worse, on there. But they're coming through good. Audio's coming through great. I the first night I did it, I think I did about 5 of them or something, and I haven't really got to it since. So I got to get back on that and get that going again. But it's been really cool. I always enjoy kind of going back and seeing how things were back in the day. I mean, some of these videos are from, I think the earliest one we've got is from like 2002 or something like that. And then I think they go all the way up through like 2009 or 10 or something before iPhones started mainly getting used and everything just was able to be shared through the cloud. And I think there's about, what did I count up? 29 or so videotapes to go through. And some of them are pretty long. I think they only go up to about an hour. And I've gone through about 5 of them already and got them, ported over to my computer, transferred over. I don't know. It's a cool process, man, to be able to go through that. Obviously, since I have to record them off the camera, it means I have to watch them or at the very least let them play. But, a lot of these things I haven't seen in a very long time, or I have absolutely no recollection of them at all, because I was born in 1997. Some of these videotapes being from 2002, 2003, 2004, so on. A lot of those things I just don't really have any memory of, either because I was way too young or because they've been so long ago that I just don't remember them anymore. And it's just kind of cool going back and seeing how things were, kind of seeing how different I was as a kid. I was a wild youngin', let me tell you. Holy crap. Crazy kid. Going back through some of the things, some of the old videos of my sister and I playing sports, some of our old Christmases. A lot of them are old Christmases. Kind of seeing some of the old gifts we got. Going back and remembering when it was that we got those and what a reaction was, and watching me as a little kid play t-ball for the first time. A lot of that stuff is really cool. It's really weird. It's also just weird thinking about a lot of the stuff you don't see. I mean, some of these videos being back in 2002. I mean, think about what was going on in 2002. George W. Bush was the president. 9/11 was just a year ago at that point. I think we had a Christmas in 2003, which was right before New Year's, which was the last time the Michigan football team played in the Rose Bowl. Wild to think about that was that long ago. I mean, just so many different things that had happened. I mean, one of the more recent ones, even though this isn't as crazy to think about, that it was, you don't have to go back as far to see this, but no masks, no COVID social distancing restrictions. Obviously, you can go back to 10 months ago and see the exact same thing, but just another wild thing to see. Just seeing what times were like, seeing how people dress, people acted. Just thinking about how long ago some of the stuff was is absolutely wild. So it's been a fun little project. I know that's not the most interesting thing to hear about, but I don't know. It's just been something really cool that I've been able to go back and go through, and it's obviously a nice change of pace off of what we're currently living in, which is absolute chaos in this world. So it's nice to go back to simpler, more happy times, I guess. But that's just kind of one little project I've been up to. Last little thing I have written down here is a little impulse purchase that I made just a few days ago. I picked up a Nintendo Switch. I don't have it yet. I think it's supposed to be coming tomorrow or the day after. But I decided to pick up a Nintendo Switch. It's something I had kind of looked at very briefly before. And looking into, because it's one of the few consoles I don't really have. I've still got a PlayStation 4. I've still got my Xbox One X, my Series X, obviously now too. And I mean, the most current Nintendo console that I think I have, or that my family has, is a Nintendo Wii. I think that's the most current one, and that came out 14 years ago or something like that now, 14, 15 years ago. It's wild, and I don't know, I was just kind of looking at it. Always my thing with the Nintendo Switch was like, I just don't know how much I would play it. It looks super cool. Obviously, it's the device that you can play on the go, and you can just dock and hook up to your TV and play that way, just like a normal console. So it's got that really cool aspect to it. Obviously, it's got a lot of select games that you just don't find on other platforms. A lot of platforms have their exclusive games. PlayStation has your Last of Us, your Uncharted, your Spider-Man. Xbox has your Halo, your Forza, your Gears of War, things like that. But, I mean, really, Nintendo's got some of the bigger ones. I mean, the Marios, the Sonics, all of those things are on there. It's just got a lot of really cool, unique games, and so I'd always kind of thought about it, but not really too much in depth. But I kind of started looking at one here in the new year. And mind you, these things have been... People talk a lot about how hard the PS5 and the Xbox Series X have been to get since they launched in November. Bro, the Nintendo Switch has been out for like 3 years, and they are still hard to get. I mean, if you go, I'll look it up again right now. I mean, I've already bought one, but I'll look it up again right now, really quick here on the spot. No shot. Really? Yo, hold up. Nah, no shot. No shot. No shot. Can I cancel my order? I'm not even shitting. Can I cancel my order? Nah, dude. No, you're kidding me. This is looked up on the spot. I'm depressed. I'm depressed. No. I looked at... Okay, so here's the story behind this of what I'm looking at right now. So with the new year, I started looking at these things, and the place I had found them that they were in stock for their normal price was GameStop. They were there live. You could buy them for $300, which is cool. Very cool. that there was actually a place for them in stock. Because like I said, if you go to stores right now, or even I'll try and find a lot of other places online, Best Buy, other places like that, they're hard to find. They're not consistently in stock. So the closest thing I found, I found them in stock for GameStop, and then I think I looked the day after, a couple days later, or something like that, and then they were out of stock, and I was like, man, I missed out on an opportunity. Like, if I was going to get one, that was the time, because I kind of went back and forth on it, on whether I should just get one or not. I just held off long enough, and they went out of stock in GameStop, and so the next best thing I found was Walmart, to where they're upcharged a little bit. Not too bad, nothing like $400 or $500 plus, or some of these, I mean, some of these other sites I'm seeing are like $500, $600, $700 to buy these things. So Walmart was just a little bit higher, just a little over the 300 mark, nothing too bad at all. And so I decided to impulse buy it off of Walmart. And just now, damn it, just now, I just Googled again, Nintendo Switches, and GameStop has them back in stock for their normal price of $300. Yeah. So that's just great. Yeah, I may right as soon as I'm done recording this, see if I can get that refunded or not. I guess we'll have to wait and see. But I don't know, I'm kind of looking forward to playing it, seeing what games and stuff I get into. I've never been a huge Nintendo guy. There's some Mario games and stuff that I've enjoyed over the years. But I'm just kind of going into it not really knowing what to expect. But I mean, a lot of games haven't been super hot lately. I just thought I'd kind of try something new, a little bit different. You know, spend some of that Christmas cash that was obtained, and I don't know, check out a Nintendo Switch. They look pretty fun. I've heard a lot of good things. I mean, these things have some of the highest, reviews, and people just raved about these things. So I figured I'd check it out and see what we got going. Man, that threw me way off guard, seeing those back in stock at GameStop for normal price. I'm gonna have to look into that. That took me way off guard. But yeah, I think that's where we're going to wrap things up here for episode 2 here of Shootin' the Schmidt. An absolutely wild day, a wild week. I mean, start to the New Year's always, a little hectic. People getting off holidays, going back to work and stuff. And now we've had an absolutely monumental, in the worst way possible, day here in the United States. 6 days in. Unbelievable. Not a lot of other big topics to talk about, for the most part. Not a lot going on in the video game world. I mean, other than, like I talked about, checking out a Switch and things like that. So hopefully some bigger, more positive topics to come here very soon. I tweeted it out just a few days ago, but if you guys ever have any topics, any things they want me to discuss, any future big topics that don't have to be necessarily current events, any certain things you want me to tackle, leave those down below in the comments. May not get to them right away, but definitely would definitely look into dedicating some future episodes to maybe some certain just random topics, whatever you guys got. So if you ever have those, never hesitate to leave those down in the comments of the YouTube videos, or tweet them at me over on Twitter at @RealSchmidty. Definitely look into those, man. But yeah, sorry this podcast has been a little shorter than the last one. I mean, I don't have a set time for how long I want to spend on each of these podcasts. It's probably going to vary just depending on certain things. But with what's gone on today, things have just been absolutely wild in the world. My mind has just been overtaken by some of the things I've seen over the last 12, 16 hours or so. Like I said, hopefully better days are ahead for what we've got going on. I definitely don't want to see 2021 be a repeat, or a even worse, a big brother in a bad way to 2020. But we'll leave all thoughts down below in the comments. Tweet them at me. Anything you guys want to discuss here with this podcast. But I think that's where we're going to attempt to wrap things up. Like I said, if you guys are checking out the podcast over on Apple and Spotify, drop your boy a 5-star review. Leave all your thoughts and stuff in there as well. If you guys are on the YouTube video watching the video version of this, smack the Schmidt out of the like button down below. Again, comment all thoughts, anything you guys want to leave, future topics, whatever it may be down below in the comment section. And that is where we're going to start to wrap things up. Why? There's the music. There it is. We got it going now. Anyway, hopefully you guys all have a good one. I'll see you guys in the next episode of Shootin' Schmidt. So long, everybody.